What is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome to the Week 6 Tailgate Show. That's right, it's time for the weekend. Everybody can kick back, hopefully relaxed, have themselves just a great overall weekend. But like usual, we got a lot to cover in today's episode. We have our end of the week news, our weather update, our compassion kit of the week, our Pristine auction item giveaway, which was absolutely huge this week, then the next installment of Mack and the Medic, and Mack's Friday Fliers. So hopefully, whichever one of these segments you're looking for, you can find with the timestamp down below in the description. But let's go ahead and kick it off where we always do with the end of the week news, because there's quite a bit here that dropped on Friday. The first thing, the Bears running backs, or the lack thereof of running backs, because Roschon Johnson, Travis Homer, and Khalil Herbert have all been ruled out for their game this weekend. What does that mean? Looks like a whole lot of Donta Foreman this week. The only other active running back on the roster is going to be Darrynton Evans, and he's only been in town for like less than a week. So we expect a whole lot of Foreman. Does that mean he's a smash start in fantasy football? I don't know if I go that far, but he doesn't have a horrible matchup here this week going up against the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to be at home in Chicago as well. Maybe you're absolutely brutalized with injuries or bye weeks. He could be an option in some deeper leagues. What about Daniel Jones? I know, nobody was starting Daniel Jones in fantasy football. Hopefully you weren't anyway, but even if you were, you're not going to this week because he has already been ruled out himself. Saquon Barkley also questionable in that matchup. Looking like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor, and like usual, not really interested in the Giants offense as of right now. But what about Deshaun Watson? Kind of a weird situation there with him, right? He's going to be ruled out this weekend as well, coming off the bye week. A lot of people expected him to probably be ready this week. There's reports coming out that he was medically cleared, but he didn't feel like he was ready. It's Cleveland. Am I right? It's definitely Cleveland, but no Deshaun Watson here this week. So if you had him in your lineup, get him the hell out quickly. What about Sam Laporta? I'm sure he was in a ton of people's tight end spot here for this weekend. And some good news, he participated in walkthroughs here on Friday. Does that mean he's going to be a full go this weekend? If I had to guess, probably not. The Lions, usually pretty conservative with injuries. We saw that just last week with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll be kind of surprised if Sam Laporta is a full go this weekend, so you may want to be sure to have yourself a backup plan just in case. How about that game last night? The Chiefs and the Broncos. Is it just me, or is it almost boring to watch the Chiefs in primetime football now? Now, I know a lot of people expected a lot more last night against the Broncos, and honestly, the Broncos defense didn't play half bad. But the excitement of watching Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense over the past few years has just dwindled, right? I'm sick of sitting there watching them pan to Taylor Swift. I see Taylor Swift more than I see touchdowns, and that's not what I'm really looking for when watching the Chiefs. How about Mike Evans? Big news here. He is a full go for week 6. A lot of people didn't know whether or not he was going to be good to go with a hamstring injury that he suffered in the game before the bye week. He should be good. I mentioned in my rankings video that if he was good to go, he would move into the high teens, so he's definitely moving up the rankings. But then we have Miles Sanders as well. He's already been ruled out, which means probably going to see a whole lot of Chuba Hubbard this week going up against the Miami Dolphins, and Carolina needs to keep the Miami offense off the field. How do you do that? You run the ball successfully. Is that something we've really seen a lot in Carolina this week? No, not really, but he should see a large amount of volume in that backfield. But let's transition into the weather, because we do have a couple games that we need to pay attention to here going into the weekend. The first one up, it's the San Francisco 49ers and the Cleveland Browns, the game we just mentioned with Amari Cooper. There is a 67% chance of rain in that game. We also have the Giants and Bills with a 61% chance of rain. Two games that we're definitely paying close attention to here this weekend. If that rain turns into some type of big storm, it's going to be one of those matchups where maybe we rely a little bit more heavily on the running game, but definitely something to pay attention to. All right, that's the end of the week news. Now, let's go in to our compassion kit of the week next. But I think a lot of you guys know that by now I'm pretty excited to be doing this each and every week, and I'm very glad to announce that just last week we had 4 kids that were sponsored by members here of Headliner Nation. I know it's not a huge number, but that's okay. One by one, we're making a difference, and we're trying to change the world as a community. So we know going into this, we had a goal of 58 sponsored kids by Super Bowl 58. We're at 54 to go right now, but I need some more help. There is nothing that I would love more than to have some more of these kids be saved from extreme poverty by the upcoming holidays. So let's go ahead and let's meet this week's compassion kid of the week. Everybody out there in Headliner Nation, say hello to Prosper. He is 7 years old, currently lives in Ghana, and has been waiting for a child sponsorship for 548 days. Is there anyone out there that is able to help this little guy change his life? Now, if you are able to help out, there is a link down below in the description, www.compassion.com/headliners. Now, if you get to that site and you search for Prosper, and he's already been sponsored, he's no longer available, that is great news. However, there are still thousands of other kids on that site that we can try to help, so please consider that if you are able to do so. Now, I know this community can change the world. It is a huge community full of positive-minded people, so please be sure to visit www.compassion.com/headliners. Now, if you are already a child sponsor out there, please feel free to leave a comment down below and let people know about your experience here with Compassion. I know there's a lot of people out there kind of on the fence with these type of companies, but Compassion is a legit company that I did my research on, and I very, very much so can vouch for the difference that they make in children's lives each and every day. So that's the Compassion Kid of the Week. Let's get Prosper sponsored here super soon. But now let's move in to the Pristine auction item to give away. I gotta reach for it here. I didn't put it next to me. This one was a big one, right? A lot of people showed a lot of interest in this week's giveaway. That video in my wide receiver start sit video had over 3,000 likes in 24 hours, which was the like goal. Absolutely crushed it. But honestly, that video right now currently has over 1,250 comments as well. Now, in comparison, that video usually gets somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 comments or so. So here we have the signed Jalen Hurts jersey that we're giving away right here. And this thing is sick. It's the alternate black. I know you can't really tell that, but this is a sick jersey right here. And we have randomly selected a winner from the comment section of that video. And congratulations, Will Royal 7504. You are the winner of this Jalen Hurts signed jersey right here. It looks like he's an Eagles fan as well. Always love when the random comment generator selects somebody who's a fan of the team. Then at least I know it's going to somebody who's not gonna like trash the thing, right? So here's what you gotta do, Will. Be sure to send me an email to info@thefantasyheadliners.com from your account right here, and we will get you hooked up. Now, like always, we have an item to give away every single week, thanks to our friends over at pristineauction.com. If you haven't set up a free account yet at pristineauction.com, what are you waiting for? It costs you absolutely nothing. You're gonna get a $10 coupon into your account, so when you go out there and you find something that you absolutely like, you're gonna get yourself a little bit of a discount on it. And then you're also gonna be eligible for all of our future giveaways. It's really a win-win situation for everyone, so be sure, link down below in the description, pristineauction.com. I always have, and I say this in a lot of my videos, I always have the 10-minute auction screen up during the week because you can find some great deals. I got an autographed jersey the other day for like $42. Where else are you going to find that besides Pristine Auction? So be sure to check it out. But now let's go ahead and head over to the next segment of Mack and the Medic.
Yo, what's going on, Headliner Nation? It's the Medic. That's Mack. This is Mack and the Medic. Let's get into it, Mack. We got a lot going on right now in the NFL world. Week 6 is upon us, and we are right around the corner from the NFL trade deadline. Amazing that we're already that far into the season, Mack. But today I want to talk about 3 guys that could be major players in the trade deadline scene that could affect our fantasy teams. And first up, probably the guy that most people are hearing rumbles about right now, quarterback Kirk Cousins for the Vikings. Mack, where would you want Kirk Cousins to go if he gets traded and the Vikings decide it's time to overhaul their team? They're not playing well right now. Doesn't look like they're going to have Justin Jefferson back anytime soon. Where would you like to see Kirk Cousins go? That could be the best fantasy value and also just the best value from a pure football standpoint.
There's 3 teams that come off the top of my dome right now. The main one, of course, is the Jets. They're super quarterback needy. Atlanta, they need a quarterback to kind of help accentuate some of the pass catching stars and running backs that they have there. And lastly, I'd say the Commanders. Sam Howell's doing all right. I think it's a slow burn with him. If you get somebody like a Kirk Cousins in there, immediately those guys like Scary Terry and Dotson, even Logan Thomas, and maybe some of the pass catching weapons that Bieniemy liked to use when he was with Kansas City, I think Kirk Cousins could accentuate all those pieces. So if I had to pick just one out of those three, probably the Jets, I think will probably be the best in, as far as fantasy is concerned.
Yeah, I actually like the idea of him in Atlanta. I know Ritter is coming off of his best game, basically. So I don't think they're actually going to make this move. But man, there's a lot of talent in Atlanta that just needs a quarterback that can kind of not just consistently produce fantasy points. I mean, Kyle Pitts, you got Bijan, you got Tyler Algier, you got Drake London. These are all guys that are doing okay, but could take that next step up. And I would love to see what that team looks like with a guy like Kirk Cousins. Just consistent. Doesn't have to be flashy, just consistently good. Another guy that's kind of been floated around all year, Devontae Adams, wide receiver for the Raiders. Mac, what's your beat on this? I mean, what do you feel like this situation is coming to?
So I think that could actually happen. Not sure exactly where he would go. My personal wish list would be the Ravens. Okay, I think that would be the ultimate place that he could go, contend for a title, get with a quarterback who desperately needs somebody who can hold on to the freaking ball. I'm a huge Lamar fan, pause. And I really, really think he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the game, but you can't have guys. His teammates had over 9 drops last week. And then people on ESPN and some of these other content creators and stuff want to talk about it's Lamar's fault. I mean, he can only do what he can do. The dude's got to catch the balls, plain and simple. So Devontae Adams,
them dudes got to catch the balls.
And, he got to catch them balls, baby.
No, I mean, I think that it's hard to argue. I mean, of all the elite quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson's really the only one we've seen not have an elite wide receiver too. And I think that not wide receiver, 2, he's a wide receiver 1, but I'm talking just a go-to option. I agree. I think the Ravens would make the most sense. Last guy that I want to talk about here, Mac, is running back Derrick Henry with the Titans. Titans not out of it, but definitely not playing well, not looking great. Derrick Henry has not looked amazing to start the year. He's had a couple good games, but not the Derrick Henry that we are used to. Mac, where would you like to see if Derrick Henry were to get traded? And I don't think he will, but if he was to get traded, where would you like to see him end up?
Well, what makes the most sense for me, even though I wouldn't like to see it, but fantasy-wise, I think it would be great. That'd probably be the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. They desperately miss Nick Chubb. We all know that. They're deservingly so. But you bring in a Derrick Henry behind that offensive line, and they already have that strategy of, run first. I think he'd be a perfect fit in Cleveland.
Yeah, not a lot of spots. When I was looking through this, not a lot of spots for running backs, at least. But yeah, trade deadline right around the corner. If I know anything about the NFL, most likely nobody's going to get traded, at least no big names. We're probably looking at like a Mecole Hardman trade at some point, but it's fun to speculate, Mac, and it's always fun to see, there are some guys that could. Kirk Cousins is probably the one of the 3 that I really could see happening if the Vikings go all out. And I could see him even moving maybe for Zach Wilson. Let's give them both a new scenery. Let's get Zach Wilson out of that Jets locker room. Let him have a year there and just see what happens, Mac. But we got more to talk about, so let's get into topic number 2. All right, Mac. Now, the second topic for this week, it's a little different, Mac. It's not as fantasy related as some people would like it to be, but I do think it is relevant to football, and I'm going to try to spin this into a fantasy conversation. But, Mac, do you care about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift being a thing?
Not at all.
I knew you were going to say that.
Nah, man. It's not really a big topic for me, although it's a huge topic, out there in Twitterverse or X or whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. No.
Yeah, I guess I kind of get it. Being an NFL fan, I feel like the NFL is just as popular as Taylor Swift. So I don't see why the NFL is like cutting to her every 5 seconds, but I think there might be like I don't know. I think her fans are not necessarily football fans. And so the NFL is trying to appeal to this huge audience, massive audience, that maybe never gets to watch NFL football, but will watch because Taylor Swift is at the game. I don't know. Have you noticed that at all? I feel like people that never talk to me about football all of a sudden are asking me, what's up with this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing?
Yeah. So I've heard it even personally, a couple female friends that I have, we've talked.
A couple?
Yeah, just a few,
A few.
But, they mentioned it. They was like, yo, have you heard about Taylor Swift dating this football guy, Travis Kelce? I mean, and I'm like, you're talking about the greatest tight end ever played the game? Yeah, I've heard of him. And it blows my mind, right? I'm like, really? Yeah. But I get it. You know what I mean? And to be honest, it's a smart business move. You bring in all the Swifties, right? And the people who really don't enjoy football, but now you're marrying the best of both worlds. I mean, I think it's a great business move, actually. So
yeah, I mean, she gets a little bit of the that target demo that maybe she hasn't hit as well. Travis Kelce getting a lot of mainstream attention, which I think Travis Kelce could be the next major athlete to Hollywood potential. I mean, he's hosted SNL, I think. And so, we're talking about a guy that wants to be kind of in that above football scene after football. But Mac, this Chiefs team looks a little bit more vulnerable than Chiefs teams in the past. Is this too big of a spotlight to put on a team that's got a wide receiver core that is either young or just not full of amazing players? Is it, because you see when she shows up at games, dude, the entire sideline is looking up, they're waving at her. Yo, hey, Taylor. Even Pat Mahomes is getting kind of sucked into that. His wife's hanging out with her. Is this something that is a distraction for a Chiefs team that should still be a Super Bowl favorite, but doesn't seem to be playing as well as a team that is as good on paper as they are?
No, to be quite honest, I don't think it's a distraction. It actually, in a weird way, it helps them because that's the excuse that people are going to use. Oh, this is the reason why they're not playing well because of XYZ, because of Taylor. No, and this is a hot take. I don't think Pat Mahomes is as elite as everybody thinks he is. I'm just going to keep it a buck.
You just dropped is your mic on fire? Hey. Mac, dude, that might be the hottest take that we've ever had. Are you saying, Pat, you heard it here, folks, people. Mac just said that Pat Mahomes is a scrub.
No. Let me preface that. You lead me down a rabbit hole now.
I'm just saying.
Because I'm going to have to fight somebody in the comment section. No, this is what I'm saying. I don't think he's a top tier quarterback. Yes. Okay. But is he in the elite, like with Hurts, Lamar, Allen? No. Even Burrow. I don't think he's good enough to be able to take over games, and we've seen it. He's been covered up a lot because he had Tyreek and he had Travis Kelce, two of the greatest pass catchers in the game, two of the greatest pieces that dictate what defenses are going to do. When you got a 4-2 guy on the outside, then you got Travis Kelce, who's a damn near wide receiver playing underneath as tight end. Those are just massive targets. And I think he's been covered up by that. And again, like I said, I'm not saying he's Baker Mayfield or anybody like that, but I just don't feel like he is a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. Yeah, right now, he's sitting at QB6. Last year at this time, he was QB1.
Yeah. Again, I still think that plays in a little bit of this. He's getting wrapped up into this thing, man. And I know that Kelce, Pat Mahomes, they can handle the spotlight. I do think that I worry about the rest of this team being able to handle that much pressure of millions and millions of people that are going to be talking about them. I mean, they're going to be having to deal with it. Their wives are going to be talking about, hey, can you get me in with it? There's more pressure than I don't know if I agree with that Pat Mahomes take, but I do think that this is a distraction. It is affecting some of the players on this team. And, I personally want them dudes to just play the best football that they can for our fantasy teams. But Mac, I appreciate you, man. Max Friday Fliers is coming up next. My boy Mack has got all sorts of flyers. You got to be paying attention to that. Keep watching the show. Let us know in the comments, do you care about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce dating, or you just going to let them do their own thing and just watch football and enjoy that? But that's all I got for Mack and the Medic this week. Mack, appreciate you, and we will see you guys next week.
Awesome. Appreciate you, fellas. But now it's once again time for Mack to pull some double duty, working overtime, talking about them Friday Flyers.
Yo, what it do, baby? It's your boy Big Mac, and I'm back again with the Friday Flyers, and this is the Week 6 edition. Listen, I got a couple of guys that you might want to pay attention to. Stash them away on your bench in the event something happens. And again, these are quote-unquote lottery picks that you might be able to use going forward. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, the first guy up I want to talk about is Tank Bigsby, running back from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, he's 20% owned in most leagues, particularly Yahoo. But Travis Etienne, he's seen a snap share of above 80% or higher in 3 of 5 games. Given Etienne's history, his injury history, I should say, you want to take a look at that. He's not a back that can, handle that type of workload constantly. So I'm not predicting injuries or anything like that, but we've seen a landscape of running backs here recently and how a lot of players have went down. So even if you're if you're an ETN owner, you need to go ahead and stash away Tank Bigsby. And, like I said, he's an elite pass catcher. He runs pretty decent routes. I'm not saying he's on ETN's level, but Dougie P has already stated in the past that they like Bigsby's pass catching abilities. And with the Travis injury, Tank Bigsby could be an RB1. So go ahead and stash him away now. Just have him sitting on your bench in the event of something bad happens. All right, next up, I want to talk about Brandon Powell from the Minnesota Vikings. So we all heard about the Justin Jefferson news, and, that was horrible. But listen, Brandon caught 4 or 6 targets for 43 yards, and also he had a 9-yard rushing carry, and it resulted into 10 PPR points this past week. And most of that came in or resulted right after the JJ injury. But now that Jefferson is on IR, everybody had a mad rush to go out and get Osborne, as they should. It seems like he's a clear-cut guy to see increased targets. But I think Brandon Powell could be introduced into that wide receiver 3 role, the same role that Osborne inherited when they had, when Justin Jefferson was playing. And I think, again, the targets will be funneled through Hockenson and Osborne. But if he continues to get the targets that Osborne had, which was around about 5 targets a game, Powell could be a very interesting player. And like I said, that's just a floor. With this high-powered passing offense, Brandon Powell could be a steal. So if he's out there, and I know he is because he's not highly owned, I would go ahead and stash him away. All right, next up, I want to talk about Foster Moreau, tight end from New Orleans Saints. So Foster Moreau was lead tight end snap-wise on that team with Jawan Johnson being out. 28 of the snaps went to Taysom Hill. 48 out of 72 snaps went to Foster Moreau. He was the beneficiary of all the goal line packages that they deployed that game, and it resulted actually into a red zone target and a TD from Foster. He has a rapport with Derek Carr already, even from back in Vegas. And if Johnson is out again, he could see more opportunities. Again, I'm not saying he's a league winner or anything like that, but with the tight end landscape being as depleted as it is, we're basically digging at the bottom of the barrel. So Foster Moreau is a guy that, like I said, that could come in and he could give you a 8 to 10 PPR point stat line, and that's pretty good when you're considering tight end. So if you got Foster Moreau out there on your waiver wire, go ahead and scoop him up. All right, and last but not least, I want to talk about Chase Claypool, now of the Miami Dolphins. So listen, he's only been in Miami for a few days. So we wasn't surprised that he wasn't implemented into the game plan last week, right? It takes time to get caught up on the playbook and things of that nature. But he may have a chance to play in week 6. The biggest thing in this whole situation is Claypool gets a clean slate. Mike McDaniels has even came out and said that himself. They're not looking at or listening to the rumors and different things of what they've heard in the media, from previous teams and stuff like that. They want to get this guy in there because the talent overrules everything. And it's clear he's got talent. Nobody can deny. They can talk what they want to say about Claypool mentally and stuff like that, but the talent is there. The dude is 6'4", 240 pounds and runs a 4.4 40. That's elite athleticism. So when you implement something like that within a Mike McDaniel system in Miami, that could really be something really special, right? Run him on wheel routes, kind of use him in a Debo type of situation, which, by the way, Mike McDaniels had a lot to do with that a few years ago back in San Fran. So again, just the potential alone of having somebody like a Chase Claypool within this offense could be very special. So if you got room on your bench, stash him away and just see what happens. All right, guys, listen. Hey, week 7 will be here before you know it. But that's all for the Friday Flies of this week. Hey, put down in the comment section if there's any, guys that you might want me to talk about that I hadn't already talked about, and let me know and I'll check it out. But until then, I want y'all to be safe, be blessed, and be a champion, baby. Peace.
All right, that's going to do it for the Week 6 Tailgate Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button down below. And then thank you very much to this community. We just crossed over 200,000 subscribers. That is a number that is absolutely mind-blowing to me when we started this back in 2017. But thank you so much for the support throughout the years. It doesn't go unnoticed, I guarantee that. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys had a great week this week. Hopefully you can sit down and enjoy some football this weekend. And we're looking forward to a great live show Saturday night, 9 p.m. Come hang out with us. If you haven't done that already, we have a lot of great fun between me and Kyle, just going back and forth, making fun of each other. But all right, you guys have a great rest of your day and then do your part to make the world a better place.